Hey guys, on this video I'm going to explain how does our backtesting system works, right? So first of all, you have to create your asset. In this case, I'm using the Ambev stock, right? It's a Brazilian stock. Just make sure you have it in your database. You can double check it here. If you don't have it, just run this request and have it there. Anyway, you have to update this asset. If you don't have the quotes so far stored in your database like I have here, just run this request, switch it to abev3.sa, that's the ticker symbol, or any other symbol that you're running the backtest against that, right? You should have every asset that you need for your backtest to be here on this database, right? So let's say we're running against Petrobras. It's a oil company from Brazil. So that for Yahoo Finance. Let's get the symbol, right? So this the symbol is pet.sa. So first of all, you just go here to assets, create. Okay, so I've created it. Then I can update my quotes. Takes a while because it's a lot of data. I'll just pause the video and come back just a second. Okay, as you can see over here, it's done, right? So next step would be running the backtest itself against those two assets that I have. So you come here to backtest asset. You type your strategy name. At the moment we only have one strategy name. This is the periodicity that's running against, like it's a daily strategy, right? So you just type your ticker names here, abev3.sa and bet4.sa, right? Those are your tickers. Then click send, and it's initializing the backtest. It's calculating indicators. It calculates the indicators that you need dynamically, right? And then it starts in the point in time. I will explain everything in detail, but this is set to stop on the first trade because I'm debugging it. But if you remove this stop, it will run to the end, and you're gonna see that it will run through every single day until today, right? Starting from the past. But let's see what it does over here. So initializing 3Dragon strategy backtest. So when you go here and try to run a backtest, it will fetch this route over here, backtest, interval, and strategy. Since I'm using a 3Dragon strategy, it will run this strategy specifically. It will basically split the tickers and pass it as an array, and here restart, right? It will show you this message called initializing strategy backtest with the following signals, blah blah blah. That's this first one here. It fetches data for Ambev and for Petrobras. It checks the first data for symbol, like for example on Ambev, if you take a look and you try to read this data, let's try to get one more asset. If you take a look at Ambev data, it starts on 5 January 2000, but if you take a look at Petrobras, it probably starts in a different time because companies are different, right? So it starts on day 3. It's interesting, right? So we have a mismatch here. We cannot run the backtest starting from a different date for all the dates. So my backtest engine, it sets every asset to the same time. That's why it initializes backtest on day 5 here, because it's a common date between Petrobras and Ambev, right? Anyway, it jumps to this date and starts running the backtest. It creates a new backtest on the database. So you can see that it's already created here. It tells you which asset it's running against you and which trades it executed. For this test, it just ran one trade. It didn't calculate anything because I stopped the trade by purpose, because I didn't want it to run fully because it's on debugging. I'm finishing some stuff, right? But then this backtesting creation starts here and start backtesting. This function is responsible for the database. Blah blah blah. Here it fetches data. You can see that it saves this data in a dictionary. You're going to realize that I use dictionaries a lot on this code. Why is that? It's because it's more performant, right? To run, because for example, I'm running the backtest for every single data point in like 20,000 daily periods in the past. I cannot just continuously fetch data into an array, for example. I have to use a dictionary for that. So it's for performance reasons. So it creates the backtest, blah blah, and right, that's essentially it. And after starting the backtest, it calculates indicators. This is a strategy specific function. So the indicators that I'm calculating here will depend on the strategy that I'm running. For this strategy in particular, it's a very simple strategy. I'm just using three indicators: the ATR, that's the average true range, the simple moving average of 200 periods, and the simple moving average of 50 periods. So here I define the helper class, and calculate it using this function. Here I set periods and everything. It's based on the closed price, right? So it saves here on this dictionary in the indicators part, right? Okay, so next step would be run the backtest, and this is the most important step. This is where it starts analyzing for every loop. Actually, let me try to explain in simple terms. So it runs every day, starting on that common date over here, and it checks for every day if there is a entry signal, if there is a exit signal, if we should adjust the stop, increase output. It basically it thinks. This is where the bot thinks. This is one of the most important ones, right? So as you can see, it passes as parameters the tickers that we are running. The tickers are the symbols like the AMBEV and Petrobras. The interval, in this case it's a daily interval. I generally pass the interval over here. It's from the root name, actually. It comes from here. Right, this is the interval. And I'm passing this define next steps function, right, to this run backtesting. This run backtesting, it comes from the backtesting system class that's extended by Three Dragons, right? So if you go here and you take a look, what does this class do? It basically sets the loop, right? It sets the loop that will run through every day and run this define next steps in every single day. So in every single day the bot will think, hey, should I do something on this date? Should I do something else? For example, it ran a little bit over here. You can see that it started on this date 31, then on 11 on November, right? It's this date is in an international format, right? So it was running this define next steps loop, this script over here, right? And it realized that we should put a start order to Petrobras on November 7, 2000. So this function was being executed for every day and for every asset, and it realized that we should put this start order for Petrobras. It checks if there is an active trade. In this case it's our first trade and there is no active trade, so it creates a new trade. So you can see here on database that it was created, right? Petro SA, type backtest trade. It's long. You have a long and short. Long is like when the prices are going up, and it sets the enter price, stop price, and everything over here, right? And here you can see that it's just a start order, right? Here you can see that another, it wasn't triggered in the beginning, and then another start order comes up and replaces that previous one, and then another start order. So it's not entering in the trade right now, it's just setting start orders, and then finally it reaches that order over here. It finally executed this order, right? So the bot placed some start orders, but the price didn't reach them, so that's why it didn't execute it. It didn't execute. So here on this case, it's set. It was we set the start order 6.585. That's the price when it was executed on this date over here, and it added a stop and finish on the backtest, because as I said, it's just we're just debugging right now. It's not fully finished, but this is how it works. Essentially, like, it starts looping through every day and checking if there's something to execute, right? Your strategy should have some functions like this: can set start order, can execute by order. Those are the checks that the bot does every day to see if he's going to execute some order or another. Most of the times he does nothing, right? He just skip the date and okay, I shouldn't do anything here. But if there is something to execute, he will execute. You can check more information about my strategy by going to Notion and going to trading systems and check it here on Three Dragons strategy. You can see every rule that I've coded. It's defined over here. Enter signals. You can use this as a boilerplate to your strategy if you want, right? Again, it's not completely created. It's just a partial thing that I have to explain. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be able to start dealing with backtesting code. But that's it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.